At 2:13 in the morning, the old lighthouse in Harrow Cove, Maine, turned its beam toward the moon. It had been abandoned for 40 years. No keeper, no power, no working lens, but the light moved anyway. One slow circle across the black Atlantic, then straight up. Coast Guard officer Caleb Ward saw it from the harbor road while rain hammered the windshield of his truck. At first he thought lightning had struck the tower. Then the moon answered. Not with light, with a shadow. A perfect black line appeared across its surface, thin as a cut, stretching from one edge to the other. Caleb stopped the truck so hard the tires screamed. His radio filled with static. Then a child's voice whispered through the speaker. Do not follow the beam. Caleb reached for the radio. This is Officer Ward, identify yourself. The voice returned, closer now. Caleb, the ocean is not below us tonight. He knew that voice. It belonged to his younger sister, Lily. Lily had drowned in Harrow Cove when she was 9 years old, 21 years ago. Caleb stared at the radio until his hands went numb. Outside, the lighthouse beam widened. It touched the water. The entire harbor turned silver. Then every boat began to rise. Fishing boats, old sailboats, the rusted ferry that had not moved since 1988. They lifted from the water without sound, hanging in the rain like dead things remembered by the sky. Caleb stepped out of the truck. The air smelled like salt, metal, and burned stars. Across the harbor, the lighthouse door opened by itself. A woman stood inside the doorway. Dr. Emma Brooks, astrophysicist, missing for 3 days. She was soaked, barefoot, and holding a notebook against her chest. When she saw Caleb, she did not call for help. She only shook her head and mouthed one word. Run. Then the moon blinked, and every shadow in Harrow Cove turned toward the lighthouse. Caleb stood in the rain, staring at the shadows. They no longer belonged to people. They stretched across the wet road, the harbor rail, the brick walls, and the roofs of sleeping houses, all turning toward the lighthouse like animals hearing a command. Inside the doorway, Emma Brooks shook her head again. Run. But Caleb did not run. He looked at the floating boats above the harbor, then at the black line across the moon. Lily, he whispered into the radio. If that is really you, talk to me. Static hissed. Then the child's voice returned. That is not the moon, Caleb. The lighthouse beam swept over the water again. This time, Caleb saw something under the harbor. Not fish, not rocks, a city. Its towers were upside down beneath the waves, made of white stone and dark glass with streets that curved like ribs. It had been hidden below Harrow Cove the entire time. Caleb's chest tightened. What am I looking at? Emma finally stepped out of the lighthouse and screamed through the rain. Not below us, her voice cracked. It's above us, reflected through the ocean. Before Caleb could answer, the harbor water lifted like a sheet of glass. Every drop rose into the air. For one impossible second, the sea left the earth. Under it, the harbor floor was dry, and in the mud stood hundreds of footprints. Small footprints. Children's footprints, all leading into the lighthouse. Caleb's stomach turned cold. Lily had not drowned in Harrow Cove. She had walked into something. The radio crackled again. Caleb, they used us as anchors. The shadows on the street began to crawl. Emma ran toward him, slipping on the wet pavement. Get away from your shadow. Caleb looked down. His shadow was standing upright behind him. It had his shape, his uniform, his face. But where its eyes should have been, there were 2 small moons. Then his shadow smiled and stepped closer. Caleb stumbled backward, but the shadow moved with calm patience. Emma grabbed his arm and pulled him under the harbor streetlight. The yellow light struck the pavement. Caleb's real shadow vanished. The thing wearing it hissed and folded itself against the wall like spilled ink. Emma shoved a rusted flare into his hand. Keep light on yourself, she said. Any light. Do not let your shadow touch you. Caleb stared at her. What is happening to this town? Emma looked toward the lighthouse. The moon is not pulling the tide tonight. Something behind the moon is pulling memory. Above the harbor, the boats kept hanging in the rain. The ocean still floated overhead like a silver ceiling, and beneath it the dry harbor floor showed children's footprints leading to the tower. Caleb pointed at them. My sister is down there. Emma's face softened. Not down, through. The lighthouse beam turned again. This time it struck the old church bell on the hill. The bell rang once. Every house in Harrow Cove lit up, not from electricity, from inside the walls. Blue-white veins appeared in the wood, the brick, the streets, even the bones of the docks. The whole town was a machine. Caleb felt sick. How long has it been here? Emma opened the wet notebook. Her pages were full of moon charts, missing children reports, and drawings of the lighthouse lens. Since before Maine had a name. The radio at Caleb's belt clicked. Lily whispered, "They are waking the anchors." From the houses around them, doors began to open. Parents stepped outside in robes and raincoats, confused and afraid. Then children appeared behind them, not the children sleeping upstairs. Older children. Wet children. Children who had vanished from Harrow Cove for more than a century. They stood in doorways with pale faces and black water dripping from their hair. Every one of them looked at Caleb, and every one of them spoke with Lily's voice. "Bring the keeper to the light." Caleb backed away from the doorways. The children did not move like children. They stood too still, rain running down their faces, mouths opening and closing with Lily's voice. "Bring the keeper to the light." Parents screamed their names, some tried to touch them. Emma shouted, "No, they are echoes." A father reached for a wet little boy on his porch. The moment his fingers touched the child's cheek, the man's shadow peeled off the ground and wrapped around his throat. Caleb fired the flare. Red light burst across the street. The shadow dropped him and fled under a parked car. The wet children all turned toward Caleb. For a second, he saw Lily among them, 9 years old, blue dress, bare feet, the same ribbon from the day she vanished. Caleb's hand shook. "Lily?" The child stepped forward, but Emma blocked him. "Do not trust the face," she said. Caleb looked at her with fury. "That is my sister." Emma's voice softened. "I know, mine is here too." She pointed across the street. A teenage boy stood under a porch light, soaked to the bone, staring at her with Emma's eyes. "My son, Owen," she whispered. "He vanished 3 nights ago." The boy smiled. "Mom, I found the other sky." Emma nearly broke. The lighthouse beam turned again, brighter than before. This time it pointed straight at Caleb. The shadows on every wall screamed without sound. The wet children raised their hands. The mooncut widened. Caleb felt something searching through his blood, through every memory of Lily, every guilt he had carried for years. Then the radio whispered in Lily's true voice. Not from the children, from somewhere deeper. "The keeper is not a person." He swallowed. "Then what is it?" The lighthouse door opened wider. Inside, the old lens began to spin, though no machine powered it. Lily whispered, "It is the last human promise below the moon." The beam struck Caleb's chest, and his heart answered with light. The light in Caleb's chest spread through his uniform like sunrise under skin. He staggered back and grabbed the harbor rail. Emma stared at him. "Caleb, your shadow is gone." He looked down. She was right. The red flare burned in his hand, but nothing stretched behind him on the wet road. Every wet child stepped away. The thing wearing Lily's face tilted its head. "Keeper found." The words moved through town like a command. The floating ocean above Harrow Cove began to turn like a glass ceiling full of black waves. Caleb saw the upside-down city more clearly now. White towers, dark bridges, windows shaped like open mouths. And in the highest tower, a light answered his heartbeat. Emma opened her notebook with shaking hands. "The old record said the keeper could wake the path, but I thought it was a myth." Caleb kept his eyes on the lighthouse. "What path?" "The one humans built before the moon was captured." He looked at her. "Captured by what?" Before Emma could answer, every shadow in the street rose upright. Dozens of them, hundreds. They stood beside their owners, wearing their shapes but not their faces. Then the shadows began walking toward Caleb. Emma lifted another flare. "We have to get inside the lighthouse." Caleb looked at the wet children blocking the road. "And them?" Emma's voice broke. "They are anchors. If the lens finishes turning, the thing behind the moon will pull the town through them." A little girl stepped from the group. Lily, or the echo of her. She held out one dripping hand. "Caleb, I waited so long." His chest ached. For 21 years, he had blamed himself for letting go of her hand near the pier. Now she was standing 10 feet away. The light in his heart pulsed once, and he finally understood. The lighthouse was not calling him to save Lily. It was asking if he could walk past her. Caleb raised the flare. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Then he ran toward the lighthouse. Caleb ran through the rain with Emma beside him. The wet children did not chase. They only turned their heads and watched him pass, each face carrying someone else's grief. That was worse. The thing wearing Lily smiled as he moved past her. "Caleb," it called, using the voice he had buried for 21 years. "You promised you would never leave me again." His legs almost stopped. Emma grabbed his sleeve. "Keep running." Behind them, the shadows moved faster. They slid across walls, fences, cars, and puddles, following without footsteps. The lighthouse waited at the end of the pier, taller than Caleb remembered. Its white paint peeled away to reveal black metal underneath. Not old wood, not brick. something hidden behind the shape of a lighthouse. Caleb reached the door. It opened before he touched it. Inside, the air was dry, too dry, no rain entered, no wind, no sound from the floating ocean. The circular room smelled like dust, salt, and burned copper. On the walls were hundreds of names carved into the metal. Children's names. Lily Ward was there, Owen Brooks was there. And beneath them, Caleb saw his own name carved deeper than the rest. Caleb Thomas Ward. Keeper sequence active. Emma stared at the words. Caleb, this was waiting for you. A stairway spiraled upward around the tower. At the top, the old lens spun slowly, throwing moon-white light through the walls. The radio crackled. Lily's true voice whispered, "Do not let the lens look at the town." Caleb looked up. Why? The answer came from the walls. Because the town is only bait. The floor lit with a map of the Atlantic coast. Harrow Cove glowed red. Then Boston, New York, Washington, every coastal city began to shine. Emma's face went pale. "If the lens locks onto Harrow Cove," she whispered, "it will use the town to pull the whole coastline through." The lighthouse shook. Outside, every shadow reached the door, then knocked politely. The knock came again, soft, patient, like visitors arriving for tea. Caleb backed away from the door while Emma lifted the flare in both hands. "Do not open it," she whispered. The door handle turned by itself, one slow inch, then another. Caleb raised the flare, but the voice outside stopped him. "Officer Ward," it said, "not Lily this time." His own voice, older, tired. "Open the door before she dies twice." Caleb froze. Emma looked at him. "It is copying you?" The voice outside laughed softly. "No, I am what the moon keeps after you fail." The metal walls began to sweat black water. Every carved name glowed silver. Lily Ward, Owen Brooks, hundreds more. Then the names changed. They became dates. Not the dates the children vanished. The dates they were supposed to come back. Caleb found Lily's name. Return date, tonight. His throat closed. Emma read Owen's date and staggered against the wall. "My son is still alive." The voice outside answered, "All anchors remain alive until the keeper chooses." Caleb hated that word, chooses. It made the nightmare sound fair. Above them, the lens spun faster. Moon-white light sliced through the tower, passing inches from Caleb's face. Where it touched the wall, he saw flashes of another place. A city beneath an upside-down sea, children standing in glass rooms, a black ocean hanging over a sky full of stars. Emma grabbed his arm. "We need to reach the lens room." They ran up the spiral stairs. Below, the door opened, not with a crash, with a sigh. Caleb looked down and saw the shadows enter the lighthouse one by one. They did not hurry. They knew the tower was theirs. At the top of the stairs, a round iron hatch blocked the way. On it was a handprint burned into the metal. Caleb placed his hand against it. The light in his chest answered. The hatch unlocked. Inside, the lens turned toward Harrow Cove, and behind the glass, Lily was waiting. Lily stood behind the lighthouse glass, not wet, not pale, alive. Her blue dress was dry, her ribbon bright, her eyes the same as Caleb remembered from the summer before she vanished. Caleb forgot how to breathe. Emma grabbed his arm. "That is not her." Lily placed one small hand against the inside of the lens. "Caleb, it is me." The spinning glass slowed. Moon-white light wrapped around the room, forming walls that were not walls. Caleb saw the pier from 21 years ago. He saw the storm. He saw 9-year-old Lily laughing as she ran ahead of him. Then he saw the part his memory had hidden. Lily did not fall. She stopped at the end of the pier because the lighthouse beam touched her. Caleb had reached for her hand, but his own shadow pulled him back. Caleb staggered. "No," Lily looked at him sadly. "You did not let me go, they made you watch." The shadows reached the hatch below and began crawling up the stairs. Emma pointed at the lens controls. "Caleb, if you stop the beam, we may lose the anchors forever." Lily heard her and turned angry. "She wants to kill us." Emma's face broke. "No, I want to save my son." The lens flashed again. This time Emma saw Owen inside the glass, smiling at her from the other sky. "Mom," he said, "I am scared." Emma lowered the flare. Caleb understood the trap. The lens did not only show the dead. It showed the moment you would give up the world to undo. Lily pressed both hands to the glass. "Choose me, Caleb." Below them, the shadows entered the lens room. They rose along the walls, silent and thin, reaching for the light in his chest. Caleb held the flare between himself and the glass. His voice shook. "I will not choose the lie." Lily's face twisted. The child vanished. Behind the lens, something vast opened its eyes, and it spoke in his sister's voice. Then choose the world that took her from you. The voice filled the lens room, soft and terrible. Choose the world that took her from you. Caleb held the flare higher, but the flame bent away from the glass as if the thing behind it was drinking the heat. Emma stood beside him, crying silently, her eyes fixed on Owen behind the lens. Below them, shadows covered the stairs. They climbed over each other without sound, a black tide wearing human shapes. Caleb looked at the glass. Lily was gone. In her place was an eye made of moonlight and deep water, watching him from a sky that should not exist. "What are you?" Caleb asked. The thing smiled without a mouth. "We are the tide before memory. We carried your first ships. We drowned your first gods. We waited beneath your moon until humans forgot how to look up." The lens turned another inch toward Harrow Cove. Outside, the floating ocean began to lower. Not back into the harbor, toward the town. If it fell, every house, every street, every sleeping person would pass through the reflection and never return. Emma shook herself awake and slammed the flare against the lens controls. Sparks burst from the panel. The lens stopped for half a second, then started again. "It will not break," she whispered. Caleb saw a small lever inside the rotating frame behind the glass. To reach it, he would have to step into the beam. The moon thing knew he had seen it. Lily appeared again, small and scared. "Caleb, please, it is cold here." His whole body wanted to move toward her. Then his radio cracked. A different voice came through, older, hoarse, his father's voice. "Son, your sister was brave before you were." Caleb froze. His father had died 10 years ago. The radio continued. "She did not ask you to follow her. She asked you to finish what she started." The shadows reached the room. Emma screamed. Caleb threw the flare down. Red fire spread across the floor. Then he stepped into the lighthouse beam. The beam took Caleb apart without cutting him. For 1 second, he was still in the lighthouse. The next, he was standing in the other sky. There was no ground beneath him, only black water stretching above and below, reflecting stars that did not belong to Earth. Around him floated hundreds of children in glass rooms. Lily was among them. Owen was beside her. They were not dead. They were waiting. Thin lines of moonlight ran from each child into the great eye behind the lens. The children were anchors, holding the door open between worlds. Caleb heard Emma shouting from somewhere far away. "Caleb, pull the lever." He saw it now, floating in the water like a brass bone, but Lily reached for him. This time, her voice was real. "Caleb, if you close it, we may never come home." His hand stopped. The moon thing whispered through the dark. "She tells the truth, save your world and you abandon them." Caleb looked at Lily. All the years of guilt rose in him like drowning water. "I looked for you every day," he said. Lily smiled sadly. "I know. Tell me what to do." Her eyes moved to the children around her. "You were never supposed to save only me." The words struck him harder than the beam. The keeper was not chosen to rescue one lost soul. The keeper was chosen to remember all of them. Caleb grabbed the brass lever. The moon thing screamed. The black water became teeth. Lily shouted, "Do not close it all the way." Caleb froze. "What?" "If you close the door, the anchors stay trapped. If you open it, Earth falls through." Her small hand pressed against the glass. "So break the hinge." Caleb understood. Humans did not win by choosing between two impossible losses. They made a third choice and paid for it. He pulled the lever sideways, not down, sideways. The lighthouse lens cracked from top to bottom, and the moon began to bleed silver light. The lens cracked from top to bottom. For the first time in 40 years, the lighthouse screamed, not with sound, with light. Silver fire poured from the broken glass and shot upward into the mooncut. The black line across the moon widened, then twisted like a wound trying to close around a knife. Caleb hung inside the other sky, one hand still on the lever, while black water pulled at his boots. The moon thing roared through Lily's voice. "You cannot break a tide." Caleb gritted his teeth. "No," he looked at the children in their glass rooms, "but we can break what you tied it to." He pushed the lever farther sideways. Metal screamed. In the real lighthouse, Emma grabbed the cracked control frame and pulled with him. Sparks burned her hands. Shadows climbed her back like living tar, whispering Owen's name into her ear. She did not let go. "Owen," she shouted. "If you can hear me, push." Inside the other sky, Owen placed both hands against the glass. Then Lily did the same. One by one, every trapped child touched the walls of their prisons. Tiny hands. Teenage hands. Hands that had been missing from Harrow Cove since before electric lights. The glass rooms began to glow. The moon thing faltered. "This is not permitted." Lily looked at Caleb. "Humans do not ask permission to come home." Every child pushed. Every shadow in the lighthouse screamed. The lens exploded outward, but the pieces did not fall. They hovered in the air, forming a new shape around Caleb. Not a lens, a door. The floating ocean above Harrow Cove crashed back into the harbor, but it did not drown the town. It rose as a wall of silver light. Caleb saw one chance. He reached through the broken door and grabbed Lily's hand. Her fingers were cold, real. Then the moon thing wrapped itself around his wrist. "One anchor may return," it whispered. "Choose." Caleb looked at Lily, then at the hundreds behind her, and he understood the real test had just begun. Caleb looked at Lily's hand in his, then he looked past her. Hundreds of children floated in the other sky, watching him with the same question. "Choose me, choose us." The moon thing tightened around his wrist. Cold shot up his arm, and for 1 second Caleb saw every life it had stolen. Not only children from Harrow Cove, sailors who vanished in fog, pilots who disappeared over black water, families lost along coastlines before anyone knew how to write their names. All of them had been used as anchors. All of them were still holding the door open. Emma's voice reached him through the broken lighthouse. "Caleb, what is it asking?" He could barely speak. "It wants me to choose one." Emma stared through the door and saw Owen among the children. Her face folded with pain. The moon thing whispered, "One life is mercy, many lives are imbalance." Caleb felt Lily squeeze his fingers. "Do not listen." He looked at her. "I can bring you home." Lily smiled with tears in her eyes. "You already did." He did not understand. Then he saw it. Lily was not holding his hand to be saved. She was holding it to keep him from falling. The children began to reach for one another inside the glass rooms. Owen reached for the girl beside him. That girl reached for a boy from 1912. 100 hands touched the walls, then the walls cracked. Caleb turned to the moon thing. "You made them anchors because you thought children would wait quietly." His voice grew stronger. "But children do not wait alone." The silver wall outside Harrow Cove rose higher. Inside the other sky, every child pushed at once. The moon thing screamed. Caleb used both hands and pulled Lily forward, but not alone. He pulled the hand she was holding, and the hand after that, and the next. The broken door widened. Behind him, Emma stepped into the light and reached for Owen. Through the door, the first chain of children began to come home. The first child came through the broken door and collapsed onto the lighthouse floor. He was not glowing, not transparent. He was real, cold, soaked, and breathing. Emma pulled Owen into her arms so hard they both fell to their knees. For 1 second, she forgot the shadows, the moon, the town, and every law of the universe. "My boy," she whispered. Owen clung to her. "Mom, don't let go." Then more children came through. A girl in a dress from the 1940s. A boy wearing a sailor coat. 2 brothers who had vanished during a winter storm in 1896. They stumbled into the lens room, crying, coughing, alive. Below the tower, parents screamed as old names became voices again. But the moon thing was not finished. The broken door shook. Black water poured around Caleb's legs in the other sky. The thing wrapped itself tighter around him and hissed, "Every return requires payment." Caleb felt his bones turn cold. Lily looked at him with fear. "Caleb, it wants the keeper." Emma heard it too. She stood, holding Owen. "No." Caleb met her eyes through the silver light. "If I let go, the door closes." Emma shook her head. "There has to be another way." "There is," Lily whispered. She pointed to the cracked lens pieces floating around Caleb. "They used the keeper as one heart, make the town 100. Caleb understood. The moon thing had made one person responsible for everyone. That was its mistake. Humans were not built to carry alone. Caleb raised his radio with his free hand. "Harrow Cove, this is Officer Ward." Static answered. Then radios, phones, and old emergency speakers across town turned on. "Listen to me," Caleb said. "If you lost someone to the water, say their name." For a moment, the town was silent. Then one mother whispered, "Anna Reed." A fisherman said, "Jacob Hale." Emma said, "Owen Brooks." Caleb looked at Lily. "Lily Ward." The silver door widened. The moon thing screamed as Harrow Cove began to pull back together. Names rose from Harrow Cove like prayers, not loud at first. A mother on Maple Street whispered the name of a daughter taken in 1976. An old man at the marina spoke the name of his brother, lost before he was born. Then more voices joined. Porches, fishing boats, hospital rooms, radios in empty kitchens. Every name struck the silver door like a hammer. Caleb felt the weight on his wrist loosen. The moon thing pulled back, confused. It had understood grief as a chain. It had never understood grief as a rope. Something people used to pull each other home. Lily squeezed Caleb's hand. "Again," she said. Caleb lifted the radio closer to his mouth. "Say them like they are still listening." Harrow Cove answered. Anna Reed, Jacob Hale, Peter Walsh, Mara Quinn, Daniel Shore. The lighthouse shook with every name. Children poured through the door faster now, some from decades Caleb had only read about in old newspapers. Their clothes changed with time. Their faces did not. They all looked like they had been waiting for someone to remember them properly. Emma stood at the edge of the light, helping each child into the room, while Owen held the next hand in the chain. The shadows on the stairs began to crumble. Black pieces fell from them like burned paper. But outside, the moon cut widened again. The thing behind the moon was forcing itself through. A low voice rolled across the town. "Return the anchors." Every window shattered. The silver ocean wall bent inward toward the lighthouse. Caleb saw the truth then. The moon thing did not only want the children. It wanted the names. The names were the locks. The children were only the keys. If Harrow Cove forgot even one, the door would never close. Caleb looked at Lily. "How many are left?" She looked into the other sky. "Too many." Then a new voice came through Caleb's radio. Small, afraid, and very close. "Officer Ward, I don't know my name." The voice came from the radio, but Caleb heard it beside him. A little boy stood at the edge of the broken door, half in the lighthouse, half in the other sky. He looked 6 years old, bare feet, old gray pajamas, no memory in his eyes. "I don't know my name," he whispered. The silver door flickered. Every child behind him froze. Lily's face went pale. "He is one of the first." Emma looked at Caleb. "First what?" "Before records," Lily said. "Before headstones." The moon thing laughed through the glass. "Unnamed lives cannot be returned." Caleb felt the truth hit like cold water. The town could speak remembered names. But what about the children history had swallowed? The little boy looked up at Caleb. "Am I allowed to go home?" Caleb gripped the radio. For the first time, he did not know what to say. Then Owen stepped forward. He was still shaking, still holding Emma's hand, but his voice was clear. "I can give him mine." Emma turned. "Owen, no?" Owen looked at the nameless boy. "Not forever, just until he finds his." The lighthouse went silent. Even the shadows stopped moving. The moon thing whispered, "Identity transfer accepted." Caleb shouted, "No!" But Owen had already reached through the light. When he touched the boy, the silver door burned bright. The nameless child gasped. His face changed. Not into Owen, into himself. A name rose from the water. Samuel Tide. The boy began to cry. "I remember my mother." The door widened. Then other nameless children appeared behind him. Dozens, hundreds. Caleb understood the final cruelty. The moon thing had hidden behind the forgot. It thought humans would only save the people they knew. Caleb lifted the radio. "Harrow Cove, listen carefully." His voice shook, but did not break. "If you don't know their names, lend them yours until they remember." Across the town, people began answering. And the forgotten children started coming home. People of Harrow Cove began lending their names. A waitress on Harbor Street whispered, "Use mine." A retired sailor held his radio to his chest. "Take Thomas Reed until you remember." A teenage girl said, "Take Ava Morgan." One by one, names crossed the silver door. They did not erase the living. They became lanterns. Each borrowed name lit a forgotten child long enough for the child to find truth under black water. Samuel Tide remembered a mother who sang while mending nets. A girl remembered being called Clara Bell. A boy in torn suspenders remembered cinnamon bread and the name Henry Vale. The moon thing screamed. The lighthouse glass cracked wider. "This violates identity law." Caleb tightened his grip on Lily's hand. "No," he said. "It proves you never understood identity." Emma helped another child through the light. "A name is not a cage." Owen looked up at the broken lens. "It is how someone knows where to come back." The silver door blazed. Outside, the shadows in Harrow Cove began falling apart. Human shapes broke into strips of black rain, hissing as they touched the street. But the thing behind the moon was forcing the sky open. The moon cut widened until it looked like a mouth. The floating city above the harbor started descending again, white towers aimed at the town like teeth. Lily looked past Caleb into the other sky. "There is still one anchor left." Caleb followed her gaze. Far beyond the children, deeper than the glass rooms, something huge was chained in the black water. Not a child. A ship. An ancient human ship broken in half, covered in moonlight chains. Its name burned across the side in letters older than English. Caleb understood them anyway. The first promise, Lily whispered, they did not capture the moon first. Tears filled her eyes. They captured the ship that taught humans how to leave Earth. The moon thing spoke softly. Now you know why we cannot let you remember the sea above the stars. Caleb stared at the broken ship chained in the black water. The first promise. It was larger than any vessel he had ever seen, older than any history book, its hull shaped like a silver whale built by hands that still believed the stars were an ocean. Moonlight chains wrapped around it from bow to stern. Each chain was made of names. Forgotten names, borrowed names, stolen names. Emma stepped beside Caleb in the broken doorway, Owen holding her hand. That ship is real, she whispered. Lily nodded. It carried the first humans who learned the sky was not a ceiling. Caleb looked at the moon thing behind the glass. You trapped it. We preserved it, the thing said. Humanity spreads when it remembers how to return. Caleb almost laughed. You mean we spread when we refuse to leave people behind? The silver door trembled. Outside, the white towers of the reflected city lowered toward Harrow Cove. Their tips touched the rooftops without breaking them, passing through wood and brick like ghosts testing a body. People screamed over the radios. Emma grabbed Caleb's arm. If that city lands, what happens? Lily answered before the moon thing could. Earth becomes the reflection. The meaning hit Caleb slowly. The harbor, the town, the coast, all of it would become the shadow of another world. People would keep living, but not here, not fully. Their real lives would be replaced by copies made from grief. Caleb looked at the chained ship again. How do we free it? The moon thing spoke gently now. You cannot. The ship is held by every name humanity forgot. Caleb raised the radio. Then we remember differently. Emma looked at him. Caleb, those names are gone. No, he said, watching the children join hands around the door. A name can be lost, a promise cannot. He lifted the radio to his mouth. Harrow Cove stopped naming the missing. Static filled the tower. Then Caleb said, tell them why they mattered. For a moment, nobody understood. Then a woman's voice came through the town speaker outside the lighthouse. My daughter Anna mattered because she fed every stray cat behind the diner. A chain on the first promise glowed. An old sailor spoke next. My brother Jacob mattered because he feared storms, but still went out when fairy lights failed. Another chain flickered. Then Harrow Cove began to remember with more than names. A teacher spoke about a boy who always gave away pencils. A fisherman remembered a girl who whistled louder than the foghorn. A nurse remembered a baby who lived only 2 days, but made her father sing for the first time in years. With every memory, a moonlight chain cracked. The moon thing screamed. Data corruption detected. Caleb looked at the chained ship. No, this is what you deleted. The first promise shook in the black water. Its broken engines glowed blue. Inside the other sky, children held hands, living and forgotten together, passing memories down the line like fire. Emma pressed the radio to Owen's lips. He looked terrified, but he spoke. My friend Samuel matters because he waited in the dark without knowing his name and still asked if he could go home. Samuel Tide began to shine. A chain snapped. The reflected city above Harrow Cove stalled inches above the rooftops. Caleb felt Lily's hand tighten in his. She whispered, "It is working." Then the moon thing changed its voice. It spoke as Caleb's mother. Caleb, stop. You are hurting her. For 1 second, the tower became his childhood kitchen. His mother stood near the sink, tired and gentle, holding Lily's blue ribbon. Caleb's heart cracked. But Lily shouted, "That is not Mom!" The kitchen vanished. The moon thing hissed. If memory cannot break you, guilt will. The black water rose around Caleb's waist. Emma screamed his name. Caleb lifted the radio one last time. Keep talking, he said. Do not stop until the ship remembers us. The town kept talking. Voices filled the lighthouse, the harbor, the streets, and the radios of every sleeping house. They did not speak like heroes. They spoke like people who had loved someone and lost the shape of their face, but not the weight of them. A woman remembered how Anna Reed always carried seashells in her coat pockets. A man remembered Jacob Hale fixing broken engines for free. A teacher remembered Clara Bell drawing stars on every homework page. Each memory crossed the silver door. Each one struck the chains around the first promise. Caleb felt the ship waking beneath his feet, though it was still far away in the other sky. The moon thing dragged black water up his chest. Lily held his hand with both of hers. Caleb, do not let it pull you under. He tried to answer, but the water reached his throat. Emma stepped into the beam, holding a broken piece of the lens like a knife. "Take me instead," she shouted. The moon thing turned its eye toward her. "Owen Brooks has returned. Your purpose is complete." Emma looked at Owen, then at the children still trapped beyond the door. "No," she said. "A mother's purpose does not end with her own child." The lens shard in her hand lit white. Owen ran to her side and grabbed her coat. "Mom, don't!" Emma kissed his forehead. "Then help me." Owen nodded through tears. Together, they pushed the lens shard into the silver door. The crack widened. The black water around Caleb dropped to his waist. Far in the other sky, the first promise lifted its broken bow. A sound moved through Harrow Cove. Not thunder, not a horn, a human heartbeat too large for one chest. The moon thing whispered, afraid now. "That ship cannot wake." Caleb smiled through the pain. "Then you should not have used children as anchors." The first promise opened one ancient eye of blue fire. The first promise opened one ancient eye of blue fire. The other sky trembled. Moonlight chains snapped away from its hull, one by one, but thousands still held it in the black water. Caleb felt the ship looking at him, not with a machine, with memory. For a moment, he saw hands building it under a sky full of storms. He saw people carving a promise into its heart. If one human is lost, the journey is not complete. The words burned inside Caleb's chest. The moon thing roared, "You are not its captain." Caleb held Lily's hand tighter. "No," he said. "I'm the lighthouse." The broken lens pieces spun around him, catching every voice from Harrow Cove and throwing it into the other sky. Emma and Owen held the silver door open. Children poured through faster now. Some ran into parents' arms. Some found no one waiting until strangers stepped forward and held them anyway. That was when the first promise moved. Its broken engines pulsed again. Blue fire spread along its side, turning old scars into stars. The moon thing wrapped black water around the ship's bow and pulled. The reflected city above Harrow Cove descended another foot. Roofs groaned. Church windows cracked. The harbor lights went dark. Caleb knew they were running out of time. He lifted the radio, water dripping from his sleeve. "Harrow Cove, listen to me. The ship needs more than names and memories." Static answered. Then an old woman asked, "What else do we have?" Caleb looked at the children coming home, then at Lily. "The reason we still go back." Silence spread through town. Then someone said, "Because they are ours." Another voice answered, "Because nobody should vanish alone." More voices joined, "Because love is not finished by death. Because a missing child is still a child. Because humans do not leave the door closed when someone is knocking from the dark." The first promise shook free from half its chains. For the first time, the moon thing screamed like prey. The moon thing screamed like prey. The sound ripped through both skies. In Harrow Cove, every street lamp burst. Windows shattered inward. The reflected city pressed harder against rooftops, its white towers sliding through walls like cold ghosts. Caleb felt the first promise pulling against its chains. It wanted to rise. It wanted to carry them home. But the moon thing wrapped itself around the ship like a black tide. Lily shouted, "Caleb, it is using the moon cut as a lock." Emma looked up from the silver door. "Then we close the cut." "No," Lily said. "If we close it now, the ship stays trapped." Caleb understood. The moon cut was not only the enemy's entrance. It was the only way out. A lighthouse did not destroy the dark. It guided what was lost through it. Caleb raised the radio. "Harrow Cove, I need every light you have." For a second, only static answered. Then, across town, porch lights turned on. Truck headlights, boat lamps, flashlights, candles in bedroom windows. Emergency flares at the marina. One by one, the town began to shine. The broken lens pieces caught the light and bent it upward. White and gold beams twisted together, passing through Caleb's chest and into the other sky. The first promise answered. Its engines roared without sound. More chains snapped. The moon thing hissed, "Light cannot cross our tide." Caleb looked at the children forming a human chain through the door. "Not your tide," he said. "Our harbor." The lights of Harrow Cove struck the moon cut. The black wound across the moon began to burn at the edges. The reflected city screamed and lifted from the rooftops. Emma cried, "It is working." Then the moon thing changed shape. It became the ocean itself. A giant black wave rose behind the first promise, high enough to swallow the ship, the children, and the door. Lily squeezed Caleb's hand. "Keeper, guide us." Caleb faced the wave. And for the first time, the lighthouse beam came from him. The lighthouse beam came from Caleb. It burst out of his chest, not white like the old lens, but warm gold, the color of porch lights left on for someone late. The black wave froze. For one breath, the other sky went silent. Then the beam widened and passed through Lily, through Owen, through every child still trapped between worlds. None of them burned. They shone. The first promise lifted higher, engines glowing blue beneath broken hull plates. Caleb understood then why the lighthouse had waited for him. A keeper was not someone who owned the light. A keeper was someone willing to become the way home. The black wave rose again, furious. Emma shouted from the door, "Caleb, the town lights are fading?" He felt it. Porch bulbs bursting. Flashlights dying. Candles drowning in wind. Harrow Cove could not hold the moon cut open much longer. Caleb raised the radio with his free hand. "Do not aim the lights at the sky," he said. Static cracked. "Then where?" someone shouted. Caleb looked at the children. At each other. The town hesitated. Then one porch light turned toward another house. A truck headlight swung across the marina and found a fisherman holding a flare. A child held a flashlight toward an old woman in a window. Light moved from person to person, not upward. Sideways, across streets, across grief, across fear. The broken lens caught the pattern and changed. The gold beam around Caleb became a net. It stretched through the silver door, wrapped around the children, and reached the first promise. The moon thing screamed, "Connection error." Caleb smiled through blood on his lip. "No, community." The first promise pulled against its last chains. Lily looked at him. "It needs a command." Caleb's voice shook but carried through every light in town. "Bring them all home." The ancient ship answered with blue fire. Its engines roared, and the black wave broke against the light of Harrow Cove. The black wave shattered against the gold net. For a moment, it became rain, not water. Memories. Thousands of them fell through the other sky and struck the deck of the first promise. A girl learning to swim. A boy tying his first sailor's knot. A mother leaving soup outside a sick neighbor's door. A fisherman jumping into freezing water for a stranger he had never met. The ancient ship drank the memories like fire. Blue light spread from its engines to its broken spine. Moonlight chains snapped faster now, whipping through the dark. The children cried out as the silver door pulled them home. Emma held the door with both hands, Owen beside her, while children ran past them into the lens room. Some were laughing, some were screaming, some were too stunned to speak. Caleb kept the beam alive, but his knees began to fail. Lily held his hand tighter. "Caleb, the ship is almost free." He looked at the first promise. Its bow lifted from the black water. Behind it, the moon thing gathered itself again, smaller now, but sharper. It no longer looked like an ocean. It looked like a blade made from night. It aimed at the ship's heart. Caleb saw what would happen. If the blade struck, the ship would break again. The children would scatter. The door would close with half of them still inside. Caleb raised the radio. "Harrow Cove, I need one more thing." A tired voice answered, "We have nothing left." Caleb looked at Lily, then at the ship. "Yes, you do." The blade rushed forward. "Forgive someone you blamed for not bringing them home." Silence hit the town. Then an old man's voice broke. "I forgive my father for surviving the storm." A woman sobbed. "I forgive myself for sleeping through the night Anna vanished." Emma looked at Owen and whispered, "I forgive the years I spent angry at the world." Caleb closed his eyes. "I forgive the boy who let go of Lily's hand." The gold beam turned white. The blade of night struck it and broke. The blade of night broke against the white beam. For 1 second, the other sky became brighter than morning. Then the first promise surged forward. Its last chain snapped, and the ancient ship rose from the black water, trailing silver fire from its wounded hull. Children trapped in glass rooms screamed as the ship passed over them. But the ship did not leave them behind. Its broken sides opened like arms. Golden paths unfolded from its deck, reaching every prison and every child in the other sky. Lily smiled through tears. "It remembers the promise." Caleb felt the words burn in his chest. If one human is lost, the journey is not complete. The moon thing shrank back. "You cannot take what belongs to the tide." The first promise answered, not in English, but every human in Harrow Cove understood it. Nobody belongs to the dark. The ship's blue fire struck the silver door, widening it until the lighthouse room became a harbor between worlds. Children poured through in waves. Some ran into parents' arms. Some were caught by strangers who had decided they were family. Emma stood in the doorway, pulling child after child into the room, while Owen guided the smallest ones down the stairs. Caleb's body shook. The beam inside him was fading. Lily looked at him with fear. "Caleb, if you fall now, the door will close." He tried to stand taller, but his knees bent. The moon thing saw it. It sent a thin line of darkness toward Caleb's heart. Lily stepped in front of him. "No!" Caleb pulled her behind him. "Not again." The dark line struck his chest. Pain opened inside him like cold iron. But behind him, every light in Harrow Cove turned toward the lighthouse. Every porch, every boat, every candle. Their light entered Caleb's back and held him upright. The moon thing whispered, "Why do they keep giving?" Caleb smiled through the pain. "Because that is what home means." Then the first promise fired one blue beam into the mooncut. The blue beam struck the mooncut. The wound across the moon did not close. It opened wider. For a terrifying second, Caleb thought they had failed. Then he saw what the first promise was doing. It was not sealing the door from Earth. It was pulling the door away from the moon. The black line tore loose from the sky like a chain ripped from flesh. Silver fire spilled behind it, and for the first time the real moon appeared beyond the wound. Small, silent, free, the moon thing screamed from the other sky. No shelter, no tide, no anchors. The reflected city above Harrow Cove began to fall apart. White towers cracked into mist. Dark bridges folded into nothing. Harbor lights came back one by one. Inside the lighthouse, children kept running through the silver door. Emma shouted names as they passed, not because she knew them all, but because someone needed to welcome them. "Come on, keep moving, you are home." Owen guided a little girl down the stairs. Lily stayed with Caleb. The beam from his chest was thinner now, flickering like a candle in heavy wind. Caleb could barely stand. "Lily," he whispered, "go." She shook her head. "Not without you." The moon thing heard the weakness and rushed forward, no longer pretending to be water, shadow, or memory. It became a long black hand reaching through the broken door. Its fingers wrapped around Caleb's throat. Emma screamed. The first promise turned blue fire toward the hand, but the children were still between them. Could not fire. The moon thing whispered in Caleb's ear, using every voice it had stolen. "Keep the door open, keeper, and you die?" Caleb looked at Lily. She looked 9 years old, but her eyes carried 21 years of waiting. Caleb smiled. "Then hurry." Lily understood. She let go of his hand and ran into the lighthouse. The silver door began to shrink. The black hand tightened. Caleb held the beam alone. And behind him, the first promise moved toward Earth. The black hand crushed Caleb's throat, but the beam did not go out. It narrowed to a thread. A single golden thread stretching from his chest to Harrow Cove, from Harrow Cove to the children, from the children to the first promise. The moon thing pulled harder. "Let go," it whispered. "They are safe enough." Caleb could not speak, but he heard Lily running down the lighthouse stairs in the real world, shouting for everyone to move. He heard Emma carrying children away from the broken lens. He heard Owen telling the younger ones not to look back. Safe enough. That was how the darkness bargained. One child saved. One town spared. One door almost closed. Humans had lost too many people to almost. Caleb wrapped both hands around the black fingers at his throat and held them there. If the thing wanted him, it would have to stay close. Behind the silver door, the first promise crossed the other sky. Its broken hull was larger than the lighthouse, larger than the harbor, larger than the town's oldest fear. Blue fire moved across its scars like blood returning to a sleeping heart. The ship reached the door. It did not fit. The moon thing laughed. "Your promise is too large for your world." Caleb's vision blurred. Then his radio, lying on the lighthouse floor, turned on by itself. Lily's voice came through, breathless. "Caleb, lighthouses do not bring ships inside." Emma understood before he did. "They show ships where the shore is." Caleb looked at the first promise. He did not need to pull it through. He needed to guide it home. With the last strength in his body, Caleb turned the golden thread away from the broken door and pointed it toward every light in Harrow Cove. Porches, boats, candles, street lamps. The thread split into hundreds of lines. The town became the coastline. The first promise turned. And the black hand around Caleb's throat began to burn. The black hand burned, but it did not release him. Caleb felt the moon thing panic through its fingers. For the first time, the darkness understood its mistake. It had trapped human ships in the sky. It had stolen children from the shore. It had fed on grief, guilt, and names, but it had never learned what a lighthouse truly was. Not a tower, not a lens. A signal that says someone is still waiting. The first promise turned in the other sky, following the lines of light across Harrow Cove. Each porch lamp became a star. Each candle became a harbor fire. Each flashlight became part of the map. The ancient ship moved away from the broken door and toward the town's living light. The moon thing screamed, "You cannot guide what was never meant to return." Caleb forced air through his crushed throat. "Watch us!" The golden thread flared. In the real lighthouse, Lily reached the bottom of the stairs and stumbled into the rain. Parents and children filled the pier behind her. Emma held Owen and raised a flare. "Lily!" she shouted. "Where is Caleb?" Lily looked back at the tower. "He is holding the dark still." The crowd went silent, then Lily grabbed the nearest lantern. "Then give him more shore." She ran to the end of the pier and raised it high. One by one, the rescued children followed. They lifted flares. Phones, boat lamps, old oil lanterns, even broken bulbs glowing with borrowed power. A line of light spread from the lighthouse, across the harbor, and up the hill. The first promise answered with a roar of blue fire. It did not enter Earth. It entered memory. The ship became a constellation above Harrow Cove, every star shaped like a promise kept. The black hand around Caleb's throat cracked. The moon thing whispered, afraid now. "If the ship remembers Earth, Earth will remember the sea above stars." Caleb smiled through blood and darkness. "Good." Then the first promise opened its ancient engines toward the moon. The first promise opened its ancient engines toward the moon. Blue fire crossed the other sky and struck the place where the black wound had been torn loose. The real moon shuddered. For the first time in human history, Harrow Cove saw what had been wrapped around it. Not a creature. A net. Black thread circled the moon, sinking hooks into its face, using it like a lantern to lure ships, children, and memories into the tide between worlds. The first promise fired again. One thread snapped. Then another. The moon thing screamed through Caleb's bones. "If the moon is freed, every hidden road opens." Caleb could barely stand inside the beam. "Then open them." The black hand tightened. "Your species will be seen." Caleb thought of Lily with her lantern. He thought of Emma holding Owen. He thought of children borrowing names until they found their own. Maybe it is time. The first promise roared. Across Harrow Cove, every light aimed toward the moon. The town did not know what it was doing. It only knew someone was still in the dark. That was enough. The black net around the moon began to burn. In the lighthouse below, Lily stared through the broken roof and saw Caleb's shadow in the light. Not the stolen shadow, his real one. It stretched across the sky like a man holding a door. "Caleb!" she screamed. He heard her. For 1 second, pain vanished. The moon thing heard her too. It changed its attack. The black hand released Caleb's throat and shot through the silver door, straight toward Lily. Caleb moved without thinking. He grabbed the hand with both arms and pulled it back into the other sky. The moon thing wrapped around him completely. Emma screamed through the radio. "Caleb, let go!" But if he let go, it would take Lily again. It would take every child again. So Caleb held on. The first promise charged one final beam. Lily whispered, "No." Caleb smiled into the dark. "Keep the light on." Then the blue fire hit the moon. The blue fire hit the moon. For 1 second, Harrow Cove saw daylight at midnight. The black net around the moon burned from the inside out. Threads snapped in silence, curling away like dead roots pulled from a heart. Caleb was still wrapped in the moon thing when the blast reached him. It did not burn his skin. It burned every lie the thing had worn. Lily's voice, his mother's voice, his own older voice outside the lighthouse door. One by one, they peeled away. Under them was not a monster with a face, only hunger. Old, cold, endless. The moon thing screamed, but this time no stolen voice came with it. The first promise pushed harder. Blue fire spread across the moon until the last black hook snapped free. Above Harrow Cove, the real moon shone clean for the first time in thousands of years. Every child on the pier looked up. Some cried, some laughed, some simply stared because they had never seen the moon without the dark holding it. Then the silver door began to collapse. Emma shouted through the radio, "Caleb, now come back." He tried to move. The moon thing tightened around his ribs. "If I fall," it whispered without a voice, "I take the keeper." Caleb looked through the shrinking door. He saw Lily on the pier holding a lantern with both hands. He saw Emma and Owen. He saw children who had been missing for 100 years standing beside parents who had never met them and still held them like family. The keeper's job was done, but Caleb was not ready to die. Not because he was afraid, because Lily had already lost enough. He reached for the golden thread that still connected him to Harrow Cove. It was thin now, almost gone. Then Lily raised her lantern higher. "Caleb Ward," she shouted, "come home." The town answered. "Come home?" Every rescued child repeated it. Every parent, every stranger. The golden thread became a rope. Caleb wrapped it around his wrist. The moon thing screamed as Harrow Cove pulled. Harrow Cove pulled, not with machines, not with weapons, with lanterns raised in the rain, with children calling a man back from a sky that had tried to keep him. The golden rope tightened around Caleb's wrist. The moon thing wrapped around him and searched his memories for one weakness strong enough to make him let go. It found the pier. The storm, Lily's small hand slipping from his. For 1 second, Caleb was 10 years old again, screaming her name into black water. Then Lily's voice cut through. "You did not lose me, Caleb." The rope burned brighter. "You kept looking." The town pulled harder. Emma pulled. Owen pulled. Every rescued child pulled. Even the first promise, shining above the harbor like a constellation, turned its ancient light toward him. The moon thing screamed and tried to drag Caleb deeper. But hunger cannot hold what love keeps calling home. The golden rope snapped him through the collapsing door. Caleb hit the lighthouse floor. Air rushed into his lungs. Rain blew through the broken windows. Lily fell beside him and grabbed his jacket. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Caleb wrapped his arms around his sister and held the child he had searched for all his life. Outside, the silver door closed. The ocean settled into the harbor. The boats dropped gently back into the water. The broken lighthouse lens stopped turning. Above Harrow Cove, the moon was whole. No black line, no hidden tide, no stolen voices, only moonlight. Emma stood on the pier with Owen in her arms, surrounded by children from every lost year. Some had families waiting. Some did not. So Harrow Cove became their family. By sunrise, the old lighthouse was quiet again. On its black metal wall, a new message appeared, written in warm gold light. "If one human is lost, the journey is not complete." Caleb looked at Lily. She smiled through tears. Far above them, the first promise blinked once. Then it turned toward the open stars.